Hello and welcome to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy, where your dreams are our mission. This is Yatharth here. Today we'll be talking about some current affairs. So the first one is that India is to display relics of Lord Buddha in Thailand. So this is a part of soft or cultural diplomacy. Soft or cultural diplomacy. You can use it in your GS3 answer writing. Okay, India will hold an exposition of some of the relics of the Lord Buddha which are in its possession in Thailand. The relics, they are 20 bone fragments. They have been preserved at the National Museum. At first, the relics would be kept at the National Museum, Bangkok, and would then be exhibited at 5 different venues across Thailand. The relics of Lord Buddha, along with the relics of two of his disciples preserved in Madhya Pradesh, Sanchi, are being. Please also read here about the Sanchi Stoop. The Stupa of Sanchi. Especially read about its architectural design. Alright, the question has already come in CSE. So they are being sent on the request of the Thai government. The Buddha relics are under the care of the National Museum, were excavated from Piparwa in the Siddharthnagar district of Uttar Pradesh and erstwhile part of the ancient city of Kapilvastu. This Kapilvastu city was very important in the life of Buddha. You can read about the life of Buddha, when he was born, where he was born, and how did he travel, where did he travel, in what year he renounced his life and found Buddhism eventually, and what are other philosophies like Shravak philosophies. So these are when you read art and culture and history of India. Alright, there are multiple Shravak philosophies. Buddhism is one of them. There is Jainism also. They are both very important. Alright, there is Ajivika philosophy also. So all these philosophies are very important. They further developed into the religion they are. Alright, now they have become a religion. So you can read about both the things, their philosophical point of view as well as their religious point of view. So it was in 1952 that the Archaeological Survey of India, ASI, please in short just make a paragraph about ASI also, when it was established, who was the founder of ASI. Alright, what was the role of the Lord Cunningham in this? So took ownership of Pipadwa after the abolition of Zamindari system in Uttar Pradesh. See, again and again in the lines we are finding multiple topics. Abolition of the Zamindari system. Alright, so you can read about various systems of the land tenancy in India. And this enabled further excavation at the site. The ASI conducted excavation at the site in 1971-77. Portions of this collection of sacred relics have been earlier taken to Sri Lanka in 1976 and 2012, Mongolia, Singapore, South Korea and Thailand. Alright, so these are the countries where Buddhism got spread eventually in the Southeast Asia, and India was a place where it was originated or born. Alright, but please remember that Sri Lanka follows a different type of Buddhism. It follows Theravada Buddhism or Hinayan Buddhism, and these South Asian countries, especially let's say Nepal or this Thailand, Myanmar, these countries follows the Mahayana Buddhism. Okay, so just remember the difference between these. You can also read about the Nagarjuna, etc., Shunyavad, etc. Okay, let's talk in short about the life of Gautam Buddha. So he was the founder of Buddhism. So Gautam Buddha was the founder of Buddhism, a major world religion now with over 500 million followers globally. This makes sense in the contemporary relevance to UPSC. His teachings have significantly impacted Indian history, philosophy as well as culture. So he was born as Siddhartha Gautam. You can read about his Kula, his earlier life, which lineage did he belong to, etc. It's a let's say big lecture. We'll take it someday in short. So he renounced his royal life and embarked on a spiritual quest after attaining enlightenment. So you can read about where he attained enlightenment and what is the symbolism that is prevalent in Buddhism to denote all these. The born of Buddha, the enlightenment, the first sermon. Alright, so all these things you can read. Buddhism is a major topic that you must know everything about. So he shared his teachings known as the Four Noble Truths. What are these Four Noble Truths? And the Eightfold Path. What is this Eightfold Path? Emphasizing non-violence, compassion and the path to ending suffering. One more thing that you must know about Buddhism is the middle way or the middle path. So what is the philosophy of middle path and non-independent existence? These two philosophies you must know. Alright, they also tell the major difference about Buddhism and Jainism when it comes to the soul. Alright, please remember that Buddhism does not believe in any soul or God, etc. While Jainism, while do not believe in any God, they do believe in soul. Alright, they also have multiple concepts like Nirjara, the Jainism. So you can read about these. Okay, So, social reform, Buddha challenged the rigidity of the caste system and advocated for equality and social justice. His teaching offered hope and liberation to all, regardless of social status. And the middle way, which we are talking about. So, Buddha rejected both extremes of self indulgence and extreme asceticism, advocating the middle way of moderation and mindfulness. This philosophy resonated with many seeking a balanced and meaningful life. Okay, the next one that we are going to talk about is India Sri Lanka Trade Pact talk ahead. So, recently we came across in news where Tamil Nadu, Kerala, we saw here, and the Sri Lanka here, the Jaffna province, Delta Island. So we saw that there is some conflict regarding to fisheries, especially regarding bottom trawling. All right, so there are other things too. We cannot always say based upon one news that the relation between India and Sri Lanka are bad. All right, this is economic relations here. This is showing basically that India and Sri Lanka still have good economic relations, and they are talking about the Free Trade Pact, that is FTP. Alright, so you can read about the Free Trade Pact and which countries India is having Free Trade Pact with. Now, India and Sri Lanka are set to take ongoing discussions on the Economic and Trade Cooperation Agreement, that is ETCA, with the next two rounds of bilateral talks scheduled later after this month and in March. The progress in negotiations is significant for New Delhi and Colombo, as the much discussed pact was stalled in the past, owing to stiff opposition from some worker unions and hardline Sinhala nationalist politicians. This is the same thing that is happening in Maldives too. You can read about this. What is the issue between Maldives and India? Alright, and this has something to do with China as well. China is having a great time in Africa as well. Okay, so this is a trilateral international relations. So how China is affecting India's relations with other countries. So it is affecting relations with Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, as well as Sri Lanka and Maldives as well. Alright, so it has a far-reaching effect which we must know about. So let's say who saw the agreement as favoring Indian interests predominantly while endangering Sri Lankan labor. So now they have changed the terms. The President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who assumed charge in 2022 under extraordinary circumstances during the island's economic crisis when a mass uprising ousted its predecessor Gotabaya Rajpaksha. You can just now forget about this coup, you can say, or the economic letdown of Sri Lanka, which happened because of too much dependence on the exports and self-reliance. There was no self-reliance. Also, they shifted completely to organic farming. Alright, so this led to their downfall in the COVID time, and there was a huge dependence on the tourism sector. Now, because of the COVID, tourism fell down, but now it's eventually recovering. So earlier this month, Sri Lanka inked a free trade pact with the Thailand. India, followed by the China, are two other key partners with which Mr. Wickremesinghe is keen to have upgraded agreements, even as Sri Lankan reel under the painful aftermath of a financial meltdown. So we have already talked about this. The two sides are exploring ways of linking service trade to investment to ensure there is no threat to local labor. Alright, India and Sri Lanka first signed a FTP in 1998. While the two sides have since attempted to upgrade it to multiple times, the attempts proved unsuccessful. New Delhi and Colombo discussed a comprehensive economic partnership agreement, that is CEPA, with former President Mahinda Rajpaksa government, but his administration saw the agreement as being redundant at that time. Now, as both India and Sri Lanka prepare for an election year, Sri Lanka is scheduled to hold presidential polls later this year. Officials in Colombo and New Delhi are keen to seal the pact before that. What we must see right now, the point here being that India, which countries are having FTA with India? Alright, Australia was in talks. A pre-agreement was signed last year. Then there is UK. Alright, and now there is Sri Lanka. The last time a question came about the Vietnam in 2022. Alright, India-Vietnam relations. So what we usually do is to focus more on relations with the big countries but ignore these countries. So please take care of these countries also. What are India's relations with Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, and also like Thailand, Vietnam, etc. Alright, so these are our neighboring countries, little bit far from our neighbors, but they are still our neighbors country. Alright, so this was our lecture for tonight. Thank you very much. Keep studying. Have a good day and see you again.